The famine in Bethlehem. A wide cinematic aerial shot of a dry, cracked landscape surrounding Bethlehem. Dust swirling the wind. Farmers in despair. Golden light dimmed by drought. In the days when the judges ruled, famine swept through Bethlehem like a silent curse, and hope vanished into the dry wind. Departure to Moab. Elimelech, Naomi, and their sons walking solemnly toward the horizon. Silhouettes against the setting sun, the path rugged and uncertain. Elimelech of Judah gathered his family and turned toward Moab, enemy land, seeking survival over familiarity. Tragedy in Moab. Naomi kneeling beside a fresh grave, her face contorted in grief. With Moabite fields in the distance and Ruth placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. But in Moab, death found them. First Elimelech, then Mahlon and Chilion. Naomi was left with nothing but sorrow and 2 foreign daughters-in-law. Ruth's vow. Close-up of Ruth's tear-filled eyes as she holds Naomi's arm. Desert winds brushing through her hair, golden hour light casting shadows across their faces. Orpah wept and turned back, but Ruth clung to Naomi and whispered words that shook heaven. Dramatic side angle of Ruth, silhouetted against the open road, her hand gripping Naomi's, with mountainous terrain behind her. Where you go, I will go. Your people shall be my people. Your God, my God. Return to Bethlehem. 2 women walking slowly into a crowded village at dusk. Heads turn, faces filled with surprise and whispers. They arrived in Bethlehem as harvest began. But Naomi's heart was bitter. Call me Mara, she said, for the Lord has dealt bitterly with me. Ruth in the fields, Ruth in a humble dress, bent low in golden barley fields under the bright morning sun, gathering fallen stalks with other poor gleaners nearby to provide for Naomi. Ruth gleaned in the fields, humble work for a woman of foreign soil, with no promise but her devotion. Boaz notices Ruth. Boaz on horseback, watching Ruth from a distance. Sunlight behind him, face curious but composed, reapers working around her. And Boaz, a noble man of the land, saw her, not her beauty, but her loyalty. Their first meeting. Ruth kneeling before Boaz, eyes lifted in humility, while Boaz extends a kind hand, and his men watch respectfully in the background. He approached her gently. Stay in my fields. Drink from my jars. I've heard of your kindness to Naomi. Naomi's revelation. Naomi sitting by firelight, eyes glowing, as Ruth shares her day's harvest. Sparks flying upward, shadows dancing on stone walls. When Ruth returned with baskets of grain, Naomi's heart leapt. Boaz is our kinsman redeemer, she whispered, and a spark of hope was lit. The threshing floor. A candlelit threshing floor at night. Boaz sleeping near a pile of barley. Ruth in the shadows, approaching quietly in reverence. At Naomi's urging, Ruth went to Boaz in the dead of night. She lay at his feet, a gesture of deep humility and ancient tradition. Boaz waking gently, surprise in his eyes as Ruth lifts her veil slightly, revealing sincerity and courage. She asked not for love, but for redemption. Boaz's promise. Boaz, standing at dawn on the threshing floor, silhouetted by the rising sun, looking out with resolve and honor. Boaz vowed to redeem her, but first, he would do things rightly. Another man had the first claim. The gate decision. Boaz before the elders at the city gate, holding a sandal aloft as a sign of covenant. Ruth watching from afar with anxious hope. Before the elders, Boaz made the offer. The nearer kinsman refused. So Boaz claimed her, not as a foreigner, but as family. The wedding. A wide ceremonial scene. Ruth and Boaz under a linen canopy in the golden fields, surrounded by joyful townspeople and elders in white robes. And Boaz took Ruth as his wife. From sorrow and ashes, love and legacy rose. Naomi's restoration. Naomi smiling with tears as she cradles Obed, the newborn child, while Ruth rests beside her, fulfilled and radiant. Naomi, once bitter, now held life in her arms again, a grandson, born of grace and loyalty. The legacy, a symbolic montage. Obed as a boy running through wheat fields, morphing into Jesse, then into young David with sling, standing before a giant shadow. That child, Obed became the father of Jesse. Jesse became the father of David, the shepherd king. Eternal echoes, a wide celestial shot of stars aligning over Bethlehem. A soft glow descending from the heavens, as Ruth's name appears subtly in Hebrew script. From a Moabite widow's vow came the bloodline of the Messiah. Ruth's story was never small. It was sacred. Ruth's story began in famine, but ended in fullness. She chose faith over fear, loyalty over ease, love over comfort.